Hi guys, it's Caroline, career coach and mentor, and today I wanted to share with you the best questions to ask a CEO in a job interview. Now, when I was actually doing some research on this topic and to see what's out there, I came across a lot of really good questions to ask, but unfortunately, they were all like one-sided. And so I thought like, oh my God, these are good questions, but not really questions that really touch on the essence, why you actually ask questions in the first place. So questions that I came across was, what's the biggest challenge in your industry or for your company? Other questions were like questions like, what are the board's expectations? And so on. Now, there is nothing wrong with those type of questions. The problem is that they give you information that you can't really make a decision on whether the company is a great fit for you or not. Now, if you actually see in an organization, a lot of reasons why people leave is because they don't believe in the leadership or the direction of the company. They don't really fit the organization. So the point is that I believe, and that's what I teach my clients that go through the Career Success Program, is that you need to ask questions that give you information that enable you to make a decision whether that company is fit or not a fit for you. So, and that is what's missing. So I was going through all the questions on the internet and I was like, oh my God, this is so important that people ask the questions not to just receive information that's like, oh yeah, that's nice to know, but real information that they can use to make a decision, an important decision, because it will impact a couple of years of your working life with that organization. So those questions that I mentioned earlier, like what's the biggest challenge, what's the board's expectations, there might be questions that impress the CEO and that really you want to highlight that you're the right candidate, but it's not really enabling you to make that fundamental decision whether or not there is a fit. So I'm going to give you an example on the type of question that I want you to think about, and I will give you an exercise so you can go away and make your 3 questions that you can ask to a CEO or any other senior manager to actually be able to decide if the organization is aligned with you and if you're going to fit or not. Because before I go into the example, the problem is that in an interview you have a lot of BS and it's very difficult to really pull back the curtains and to really understand what's going on behind it. So, for example, if you ask anybody, what's your management style? People will say like, oh, it's collaborative, it's very result-oriented, and the person that I hire just needs to deliver the results that they say they're going to do, and then I'm happy. But reality is that we all know a bunch of micromanagers that actually stand behind and breathe down your neck to actually get the results they want. So, and you don't want to work in such an environment. So I'm going to give you an example of a question that we came up with, my client and me came up with around what he values in the workplace. So it came from an organization that wasn't really receptive to ideas that were brought to the table by senior leadership teams, senior managers, or employees in general. So the CEO had really a monopoly going on about the decisions that were being made, which is often the case, nothing wrong with it. But he wants now an organization that really understands the value he can create and gives him the autonomy and accountability to actually bring an idea to life. So the question that he is now going to ask is like, okay, give me an example where one of the employees in the organization came up with an idea and just was able to implement and execute it because basically it was a good idea. by asking a question like that, you do a couple of things. You don't ask for specifically in your team. You put it broader to the employees in the company, because then that way you can get a feel of the type of organization that they really are. And secondly, you get information that you're able to use to make a decision, a well-informed decision on, based on what they say. Now, there is one remark I want to make. It's not because the answer is not what you want to hear that you have to reject an opportunity, because it can still be an amazing opportunity. But what I teach my clients to do is to ask questions that gives them information that enables them to make a decision, so that they are aware of what they're stepping into. Because in the 12 years experience that I have as a recruiter and HR professional, the biggest thing that I saw was people would sign a contract and think like, oh my God, this is the best opportunity ever, and it's a great company, great boss, and blah, blah, blah. Only to find out 3 months in that it was absolutely bullshit that they're stepping into. And they actually were promised certain things that didn't come through, or it wasn't really aligned, or they didn't fit at all. So I want to give them tools to actually come up and protect themselves against that. So if you actually ever were in this quite a similar situation and you want to have a toolkit that you can implement, what I want you to do as an exercise is list 3 things that are important to you. That could be innovation, agility, flexibility, that could be compensation, that could be how people value, whatever it is. Write 3 things down, and then formulate questions that you think like, okay, they have to really think about coming up with an answer. Because here's the thing, when people really have to think about the answer that they're going to give, because it's not a box standard question that you ask, then actually the honesty comes really through. Because if it's a box standard question, like for example, what's your management style, or what are your expectations, then people actually give you just BS, bullshit. So this is my exercise for you. If you have any questions, or if you want to work with me, I will pop a link below so you can actually schedule a time to talk. Because if you're a senior manager or an executive that actually is looking to step up and take the next step, then it's really important to get all the elements that make up a successful career right, because basically it's a very important move that you're going to make, and I'm here to help and support you. So I'll pop the link below so you can reach out and schedule a time for us to talk. Perfect. It was lovely talking to you today again, guys, even though it's one-sided. But I hope this helped and opened your mind a little bit, because that is what I intend to do. Thank you so much, and speak to you soon. Bye.